Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now the price of Bitcoin is continuing to play out this breakout above key resistance, which actually sets up a technical price target on the chart. So in just a moment, I'll be talking more about that and other key levels of resistance. And on top of all of that, today we have an FOMC meeting, also known as a Fed meeting, which I'll talk more about in just a moment. That will be important, so make sure you watch to the end. First of all, in case you didn't already know, we just received new CPI inflation numbers yesterday, which came in at 7.1% year over year, and that was actually much better than expected. Because as I mentioned in my last update video, the majority were expecting 7.3%, and so the fact that we got 7.1%, that was good news yesterday, which led to a market pump. And as always, if you want to receive this information as soon as it gets released and stay up to date in real time, then make sure to follow me over on my Twitter to get updates like this, and you can find a link to my Twitter in the description down below and in the pinned comment. But anyway, considering yesterday's CPI numbers actually came in a lot better than expected, this actually increased the probability of a 50 basis point hike at today's Fed meeting and decreased the probability of a 75 basis point hike. Because in case you missed my last video on the channel, just yesterday before the new inflation numbers were released, there was around a 70% chance of a 50 basis point hike and around a 30% chance of a 75 basis point hike. But as of right now, at the time of recording this video, there's around an 84% chance of a 50 basis point hike and around a 16% chance of a 75 basis point hike. And considering the fact that these numbers are literally based on what the futures market is pricing in right now, this means that a 50 basis point hike is already completely priced in. Everyone knows that we're going to at least get a 50 basis point hike today, so that is already priced in. And in fact, some of the market is even pricing in a 75 basis point hike, once again with a 15 to 16% probability. And so what this actually means is that if we get a 50 basis point hike, since the market's already priced that in, and in fact some of the market is pricing in for even more rate hike, like a 75 basis point hike for example, then that means that if we get that 50 basis point hike, that would actually be bullish for markets, because those who were pricing in a 75 basis point hike would have to come back over and immediately price in only a 50 basis point hike the moment it gets released. But on the flip side, if we see a 75 basis point hike today, which is technically unlikely based on what the futures market is pricing in right now, but of course it is still a possibility which must be considered. And basically, if that happens, if we see a 75 basis point hike, then that would be very bearish for markets, because not a lot of the market is actually pricing in a 75 basis point hike. Only a small portion of the market is pricing that in. And in case you're new to all of this, the higher rate goes, so the bigger the rate hike, the more bearish that is for markets and really the overall economy, and the lower rates are, the more bullish that is for markets and the economy, which is why a 50 basis point hike would be considered bullish today, since the market has already completely priced that in. And once again, a 75 basis point hike would be very bearish if we see that today. But anyway, now getting into the Bitcoin part of this video, this right here is the daily Bitcoin to US dollar chart, and right now the daily Bitcoin RSI is still trending to the upside, holding above this ascending line of support. And so once again, as I've been saying almost every day over the last 1 month, this means the price of Bitcoin is still due to play out this pause from the larger bearish trend, which means basically don't expect any significant bearish price action visible on the daily time frame anytime soon, while the RSI remains above this support line in an uptrend. And now if you zoom into the shorter term, this right here is the 4-hour Bitcoin to US dollar chart, and obviously obviously over the last one day with those good inflation numbers that propelled the Bitcoin price to the upsides. And technically speaking, this sideways price range just here could be seen as a bull flag pattern, because obviously the price was trending to the upside entering into this sideways price range, and then of course we had a bullish break above resistance. And so if you measure the technical price target for this acting as a bull flag, then that technical price target is sitting at approximately 18.1 to 18.2k. And what's interesting about that technical price target is if you zoom out on this 4-hour time frame and take a look at the Fibonacci levels of resistance, we do have the 50% level of resistance sitting at around 18.2k approximately. So I would of course be expecting resistance around 18.2k, but if we end up seeing a break above that level, then the next important resistance based on these Fibonacci levels is sitting at approximately 19,000 based on the golden pocket right here. But just going back to this chart and taking a look at the 4-hour Bitcoin price oscillators, it is important to mention that right now, as of recording this video, the 4-hour Bitcoin RSI is currently sitting in overbought territories, which technically means we're a little too overheated in the imminent short term, and we could be due to see a bit of a short-term cool-off, which can either play out in the form of a sideways consolidation or a slight pullback in the price of Bitcoin, just something to reset the RSI back down towards more neutral levels. And of course, if that happens, then that can actually give us some more room to the upside later on, kind of like what happened with this sideways consolidation that helped to reset the RSI, which gave us plenty of room to the upside in the short term. So overall, when you're just talking about the short term, technically we are currently in a short-term bullish trend with the price breaking above resistance, but we do need a bit of a cool-off in the imminent short term to help reset the RSI. But anyway, getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this right here is the daily ETH to US dollar chart, and obviously the price of ETH is continuing to successfully bounce from this important support level sitting at approximately 1240. And while the price is still holding above key support, we are continuing to see the daily Ethereum RSI also hold above key support while it is trending to the upside. And so once again, as I said earlier in the video, and as I've been saying almost every day over the last 1 month, this means that we're due to see a pause from the larger bearish trend, which means don't exactly expect any significant moves to the downside anytime soon on the daily time frame while the RSI is still trending to the upside like this. And as for potential levels of resistance here on the daily Ethereum chart, taking a look at the Fibonacci levels of resistance, we do have the 38.2% Fibonacci level sitting at approximately 1360. So technically speaking, that is the next important resistance to pay attention to here on the daily time frame. And if we break above around 1360 to 1370, then the next resistance levels are sitting at around 1470 and around 1.6k. And now if you zoom into the shorter term, this right here is the 4-hour Ethereum to US dollar chart, and right now the price of ETH is attempting to break through this key range of resistance, which is coming into play in between around 1280 going up towards around 1320. So if the price of ETH can now hold above 1320, obviously this is a short-term bullish signal telling us that we're potentially about to begin the next leg to the upside, kind of like what we've seen for Bitcoin over the last 1 day or so. But anyway, going back to the short-term ETH chart right here, as you can see, the 4-hour Ethereum RSI is just beginning to enter into overbought territories, telling us that we're already getting a little bit too overheated just in the short term, and that we should be expecting a short-term cool-off soon, potentially over the next 1 to 2 days. But of course, that Federal Reserve meeting can heavily affect markets in the short term, depending if the result is a 50 basis point hike or a 75 basis point hike, and also depending on what Jerome Powell, the chair of the Federal Reserve, says in his press conference, which happens right after the Fed meeting and right after the rate hike is announced. But as of right now, with the Fed meeting aside, just based on technicals alone, technically speaking, we are currently looking more bullish than bearish, considering the price price is breaking above key resistance. So in terms of the short-term trend, that is just the short-term trend on the 4-hour time frame, this is currently bullish, although we're soon due to see a bit of a short-term cool-off to help reset the RSI, which can actually give us some more room to the upside later on. And now, if you want to know how to maximize your profits in crypto, no matter if prices are going up, down, or simply chopping around sideways, then make sure to check out these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left of your screen shows you how to make money if the price is going either up or down, and the video in the bottom left of your screen shows you how to make money in crypto if the price is chopping around sideways. But anyway, that's everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.